what is going on, my friend? My name is Gil Franklin, aka Not Your Fucking Dating Coach. If you aren't familiar with who I am, if you haven't seen me on Facebook, if you haven't seen me on my Instagram, if you haven't been a part of my bloody VIP email newsletter, well, I'm just here to tell you that I'm Gil Franklin. Again, leadership coach for men. I help nice guys become great men who attract quality women and fight fucking mediocrity. So I just wanted to say thank you for your time and welcome inside of the lost chapter of the Frame Control Bible. Before we get started, I want to give you a really special introduction and a very brief share a very brief attribution to a mentor of mine that I once followed and whose content this is actually based off of. And it's this gentleman right here. His name is Christian Hudson. As you view this video right now, he's got in the bottom right corner right here with this lovely lady, which is his wife. And this was, again, called the Frame Control Bible, and it was based off of one of his trainings, and I highly recommend and what is the frame? Oh, yeah, endorse the fact that you go to his website and you follow his content, because there's a lot of great social and dating skills development content that's on there that I learned 9 years or so ago, and well, roughly shit that I still practice and implement today. And the way you can find him is at thesocialman.com. Again, thesocialman.com, but with N, it's two N's.com. So yeah, with that being said, let's begin. So, what is frame control? So, frame control is actually really simple. And there's three ways that I can break it down for you, but here's the best ways that I want to describe it for you, so that way you have the best idea of how to, receive this and also expect how you can change this frame. And number one is, frame control is how every person carries an interpretation of the world around them. More importantly, frame control is understanding that every person on this planet, male or female, has and carries a very particular interpretation and mental emotional association to the world around them. Their frame equals their perspective, right? Their frame, their perspective. So just get that under mind, how they have that, how they see the world. Reality, particularly, doesn't always have to equal their frame. Okay? It does not always have to equal the frame. Reality ultimately is always malleable. And it is usually, more often than not, subject to interpretation. So how we interpret and how we associate particular emotions based off of our past experiences, ultimately, in the end, kind of, dictate how a scenario or a situation or an outcome with a woman or a person in general is going to go. So that's two. And finally, three, ultimately in a socially dynamic situation or in this idea of negotiation and persuasion and communication with other human beings, because women are kind of human beings first, right? So ultimately the one who's in control of their frame control really is, meaning whoever is more convinced of their interpretation of reality, whose interpretation of reality usually is more stronger, they have more proof, is more fact-based, and more, there's more science, and more, obviously, it's not in denial of reality, but it's also optimistic, and it's also just kind of neutral at the same time. Whoever's frame of reality is stronger will ultimately influence the interpretation of everyone around them. So what is frame control based and dependent on? Frame control is dependent upon, one, her level of trust and comfort with you. Okay? Again, I'm going to say it again because this is very important. Before you move up this bloody ladder of the indicator of interest chart, the investment ladder, we talked about it inside of Make Women Chase You, the book. But just for explanation's sake, I'm going to share it with you again. And what that's going to look like really quickly right here before we move forward is we understand that stoplight theory is the idea of that. Ultimately, kind of how to ultimately summarize and explain everything with the idea of this investment ladder. So red lights, if you know anything, or if you've been driving, or you own a vehicle in the world, you see a stop sign, or a stoplight rather, and it's pretty easy to understand. Red means stop, yellow means slow the fuck down, or hurry your ass up and get your ass through that intersection before it goes red again. And then green, obviously everybody's favorite color in this context, means go. You want to go, right? It means green is positive, it's good. So what we're ultimately trying to do here is you want to keep yourself and be aware of these little symbols, and leveraging frame control in this context is a very, very important tool for you right now. So where were we at? Where was it at? Where did you go? No. There you are. Oh no, that's not. My bad. It's this one. See, now I gotta go back. My bad, guys. Give me a second. Just goes to show you that, like, I'm imperfect too, but I only try to keep it simple. What are you? So next, it's her strength, the level of her trust and comfort with you, and it's how well you are able to ascend and descend down that investment ladder that we just broke down. And then more importantly, it's your congruence as a man, meaning you doing what you say you are going to do, and you keeping those promises with yourself as imperfectly as you can. This, as you do that to her from an outside perspective, demonstrates to her the strength of your frame. Does that make sense? It demonstrates the strength of your frame. And next, it also demonstrates the more congruent with you are with her, but also more fun and challenging that you are with her. It also demonstrates the attractiveness of your frame. It makes them want to enter your world, or at least want to feel like they want to enter your world and become a part of your life more. So again, summarize that up. What is frame control ultimately dependent upon? It's dependent upon her level of trust and comfort with you. And here's something that you don't want to do, and it's something that you need to understand, is that a woman would not, or does not, or won't want to adopt your frame if she does not like, trust, or feel safe with you. Does that make sense? So developing a strong frame ultimately, at the end of the day, we'll just go. Oh shit. It can be done directly, or it can also be indirectly. And what just happened? That was weird. My bad. And direct frame control development ultimately is really just a reinforcement of the frame through your conscious thoughts, and through how you interpret the world around you based off of the actions you were taking, and how the interaction and her reactions of you doing the things around her that, it's kind of fun, it's challenging, you teasing her, with you just connecting with her, and you guys are sitting back, whatever. But like ultimately, direct frame control and direct development of the frame really is it's really just asking the question, what is the mental conversation going? How is the conversation in your head going at the moment while you are with her? Where is your self-esteem at? Where are you at? Where are you grounded? Where is your mind at? Right? So like, for example, direct frame development would look like an optimistic and a positive frame would be, she really wants to kiss me right now, versus like the opposite of a non-strong frame development phrase is like, I don't think she really wants to kiss me right now. Like, I'm just not that cool, right? Like, you want to have the conversation in your mind about the conversation to be like, you want it to be optimistic, you want it to be fun, you want it to be playfully assumptive, while at the same time carefree and laid back, but seeking truth and just honest, right? So if that makes sense. So next, indirect frame development. Ultimately, it's just about expressing a particular frame to others. What did I just do here? And even if you don't fully believe it at getting, it's about you being able to test that same idea of what could be your reality or your future reality together, and like maybe you want to test out an outfit and how you think it would look really good on your next date with her, or like you guys have been going out for a while. Maybe you slept with her already. It's going really well. You guys make out. You guys share dinner together. You guys make plans. Like, you want to do an outfit though. You want to like just go out and you say, hey, I'm gonna go here. I want you to come with me. I want you to get your opinion on how well I think. And it's, again, expressing a particular frame to others. And even if you don't fully believe it, it's about getting that positive feedback that will strengthen the frame. And again, frame development means proving yourself right, because ultimately it's going to come down to you. So if it comes down to that same outfit idea, if she believes that you have a strong frame, she will listen to how you believe. She will buy into and listen to the belief that you have within yourself about how well the outfit will look. Unless the outfit looks like shit, of course. and then she should tell you, hopefully, that you look like shit. Anyways, special note, author's note. Talking really fast, guys. Okay, so you, as in your own thoughts, your beliefs, and your own self-esteem, but the beliefs in yourself immediately and directly impact how fast or how slow the chemistry between the two of you escalates or fizzles away. So, it's very important, and I'm kind of reiterating this right now, about having strong, direct frame control with yourself, and basically making sure that the conversation in your brain is pretty strong, it's optimistic, it's fun, it's challenging, it's playful, it's a little bit ferocious, but at the end of the day, it's carefree. Right? You want to tease her, you want to give a lot of love to her, but you also want to step back. Because you never know, we understand that most women are what? Well, yeah, that's right, pretty sketchy. Not sketchy, but flighty. They're very emotional. They're subject to change a lot, right? Because they just have a lot of emotions. So it's important that you being a rock, allowing her to give that space, and you just remain carefree. You have another purpose, you're doing other stuff. So that's why you want the conversations in your mind to be pretty strong, rock solid, at least consistent, and you can work on it. And that is direct frame control, and like I said, indirect frame control development would be roughly you proving to yourself and showing to others that you kind of are the man, and the words that you say aren't just the words, they're fucking actions, and roughly it's reality. So that's a strong frame. Next, we're going to talk about developing an attractive frame. And really, ultimately, certain frames of reality are more attractive than others. Sometimes as guys, we can get caught up to this idea that oh, hey, my frame, the way I see things is just the only way, in the one way path only, and we should totally do this. And usually if you are a pioneer, or if you're a guy that just takes a lot of action and you've done things many times, you understand that that's kind of reality. But, again, the idea of frame control here is that reality ultimately is subject to interpretation based off the person's perspective. But if another comes in, right, another person, maybe her perspective, she's done it too, maybe she knows how to get to the same outcome, just doing something different. Therefore, your ability to assume that same rapport with her and take into mind her own frame and incorporate it with you, that becomes attractive, because now it's not just a you frame and then she's leading, it's an us frame. You create an us bubble, you two share a common goal, and you're not going to get mad at her for taking XYZ route, whereas you take ABC route to get to ultimately the same end goal, if that makes sense. So, there's two types of attractive frames. There's positive frames and there's a negative frame. We're gonna go over more of that a little bit later as we go forward. I'm just trying to push forward into this because we don't have a whole long amount of time, and I'm trying to reduce the amount of time I spend on these videos. So let's keep going. That being said, is frame control manipulation? Well, ultimately, human beings, especially women, are looking for leadership. The best way a mentor of mine would put it is you gotta understand that everybody else is a socket, an electrical socket. You know how those little prongs when you try to plug it into the walls, and maybe you want to charge up your phone and your phone's at 3%, but you need to get your little socket, you have to plug it into your phone, and then you have to you have the USB port and you have to plug it into the wall. Well, think of that little port where the prongs are at that plugs into the wall. Everybody is like one of those. They just want to plug into something. They're always looking for something to plug into. Well, in this frame, in this metaphor, in this analogy, you want to be the socket that she wants to plug into. Ultimately, your dick has to be the thing that she wants to jump on. Okay, does that make sense? There's ways to go about going about this. So, as we said, is frame control manipulation? Again, human beings and women ultimately are looking for leadership. Ergo, you be the fucking leader and do your best to work on it, be decisive. So if your frame, however, this is a challenge, is a selfish one, if your frame is a selfish one, as in, I want women to worship me because it'll make me feel good about myself, then unconsciously, because of that perspective and interpretation of your reality and how you kind of come off, not even kind of that, how you come off, unconsciously you will take the actions, you will do things, you will have an ulterior motive. Women can smell that shit, and unconsciously they will be less likely to want to adopt your frame, to want to be attracted to you. In fact, you'll probably push them away, you'll repel them, unless you change that frame. So it's, again, being aware of that conversation in your head that's going on. And 3, conversely, if your frame is one that will benefit her, then she's more likely to follow you. Meaning it's not just a you bubble and a her bubble and you guys have similar goals, but it's you taking the lead, understanding it's a you bubble and her bubble, putting it together and making it about the two of you. Now it's an us bubble together. And you are leading and she's also following, but she can also take the lead too if she has another route. Does that make sense? So frame control, is it somewhat manipulation? Sure. But it's ultimately about you taking the lead and being the leader and being the light in the dark, so that way she wants to join it with you. And then ultimately, sometimes if we're using the metaphor of light in the dark, you're letting her be the light too, and you guys can bounce off of each other and share that frame together. So next, where are we at? Okay, so frame control happens on 2 levels. One, physical. Right? As in, how do you move your body and the amount of physical touch that you are initiating with her? And then the second one is verbal. Right? We already talked about the 7-38-55 rule. We'll go into that a little bit later in the video of this training. There's 3 parts. Like I said, the second part of this frame control level is verbal. As in, the words that are coming out of your mouth. And these words, not only that, but how you are saying them. As in, these words that are coming out of your mouth that will set the tone for the interaction. So the key is that as long as she trusts you and your frame is congruent, strong, and attractive, then she will want to follow your lead. And that means that you are the guy who you say you are. And even if you're not fully, like, maybe you want to be a millionaire and you're not a millionaire yet, you're like a 6-figure owner, but 6-figure earner a year, but you're on the fucking path there. And she can see that you're doing that, and you have taken all these actions, you have the routines, you have your discipline, you go to the gym, your diet's on point. Not only that, you're cold calling and reaching out to warm reach outs, you have a newsletter, maybe you have investments, right? As long as the fucking proof is there, and she sees that, that makes you strong, and it also makes you attractive because you're competent. And the attractive part, that's an emotional part, we'll talk about that later. It makes it attractive because now that's something that she wants to be around. And hopefully, if she doesn't have that herself, she'll want to be as well, too. You can teach her that. Therefore, ergo, she will want to be the lead. She will want to follow your lead, my bad. So, with that being said, don't do what fucking nice guy Jerry does. Right? That's kind of the key. I don't know if you remember, but I introduced you to nice guy fucking Jerry. And guess what? He kind of looks like
being indoctrinated into what it is required to become a man of manhood today in this world, 2023. This guy, you see him? This is Jerry, and maybe you recognize it from the show called Rick and Morty. Wait, Jerry. So what is he holding in his hand? If you pay close enough attention, he has a box in his hand. This is what every noticeable nice guy Jerry does. And it's something that I don't want you to do, and we're going to make more aware of within yourself as you go throughout the training and as you read this fucking ebook. And if you pay close enough attention to what he's holding a box, and on that box is what? There's a button on that box. What is that button? What does that represent? That button that Jerry is getting ready to push. Look at it. Fucking Jerry. That is the easy button.
Okay, cool. Does that make sense? So, don't do what nice guy Jerry does. He's always tapping the fucking easy button. He's not doing the work. He's running away from the hard work. He's not being strategic. He's not planning stuff out. He's not writing the stuff down. He's not having mentors. He's always surrounding himself around fucking losers. And because he's surrounding himself around losers, he's thinking like a loser, because we have the average of the 5 to 6 people that you hang around with. So it's like, and here's another example. Nice guy Jerry keeps physical touching low, because his frame is that touching is awkward. He believes that if somebody is attracted to him, namely a female that he finds attractive, that it would be awkward. That touching would be awkward. Oh my God, don't touch me. But what if she does like him? What if he wants to, He wants that pee-pee time. He wants the pee-pee touch. He wants to fuck. He wants to do all that. Well, guess what? You have to touch. Just not. There's a way to build up to it, and there's a right way to do it. And because of this, though, he doesn't have the attraction. He doesn't get her desire. He doesn't build sexual tension. He does not move forward, and thus she does not follow his lead. Ergo, no pee-pee touch. Which is what you don't want. Right, and here's another, I'll give you a quote at the end of this whole, I guess I'll just tell it to you now to make it save you so much time. And it's a quote that I found by Jeff Bezos, and he says that compromise is a low energy resolution mechanism, but it does not lead to truth. And being a nice guy, fucking Jerry, always smashing that fucking easy button, like it's the low energy compromise that everybody wants to take. Like, don't fucking compromise. Just, if there's one big ass thing, there's a bunch of stuff in the fucking thing. Excuse me, excuse me. If there's a bunch of things that you have to do, then eat the fucking frog. Break it down to make it simple. Prioritize and execute, as Jocko Willenick would say for himself. Choose the biggest and the hardest task that you have to do, and just do that one big task, and just commit to it for the first 4 to 6 hours of the day. So, and then stick with that, and just make that the one thing. And here's another thing that nice guy fucking Jerry does. Okay? Nice guy Jerry waits for obvious indicators of interest from women to escalate, and is thus dependent on her frame. He's not the leader, although he is using, in this context, the investment ladder that we talked about a little bit earlier. But guess what? He's waiting for her to tell him when it's okay to touch her. He's waiting for her to tell him that, oh, hey, yeah, I want you to kiss me now. Or I want you to touch me here now. Or I want you to... He's waiting for mommy to hold his fucking hand. No. Sorry, buddy. Guess what? Because that leads to what? Oh, yeah. No pee-pee touch. Times 2. She's the leader instead of him. That's not attractive. You don't want that. That's a weak frame. So don't do what nice guy Jerry does. Don't hit that easy button. Next. Nice guy Jerry is not sure if a woman will like him or not. He just doubts himself too much. Maybe he's had some bad interactions. I understand that. But guess what? Your past does not always equal the present or the future your past does not equal the future. And it only will equal the future unless the behavior and the actions stay the same. Does that make sense? So don't do the things that made you feel that way in the past. Again, and if you do, there's probably a lesson in there that you need to take, and you're not being mindful of it. Take the lesson, learn from it, change your actions, change your behavior. You're not a fucking robot. Work on it. We're gonna work on it. Thankfully, you're here. We can work on it together. Anyways, and like I said, nice guy Jerry's not sure if a woman will like him or not. He has a shitty, self-talk. His frame is weak. Therefore, he does not follow me, G. Franklin. He does not follow Jason Capital, the other guy that's inside of my book. He does not follow Christian Hudson, a part of the Social Man group. He has no mentors. He has no friends or associations that can, help him make that switch of the frame in his brain. He doesn't study game. He doesn't do none of that. He doesn't want to be a badass with women in life. He's not trying to dominate nothing. He wants to be dominated. He's weak. He's that beta male. Are you that guy? No. And why is he like this? It's because of this, it keeps him, she keeps him rather, in the dreaded, what? Oh yeah, friend zone. And within the friend zone, there's definitely no pee-pee touch, times 10, ever. Never, ever, ever, ever. So, with that being said, let's talk about her frame. The girl that you're interested into. I want you to use your mind for a moment. The pretty girl that you're really interested into, who you want a cold approach, or you just want to say hello to. Let's think about her frame when she is approached. Okay, and as we do that, I kind of want to play a really quick experiment with you and just test you. So that being said, let us begin. Her frame when she's approached. 1. This guy looks like fun. I want to talk with him. What do you think? On the stoplight theory, red, yellow, or green. I'd say, honestly, that's green. Ultimately, you want to stay yellow or green. But for me, if this would be a woman's frame when a guy approaches her, as in, this guy looks fun, I want to talk to him, that's definitely yellow. Yellow compliment going to green, invested in chasing. And therefore, you want to play with that. It's okay, boom. Therefore, you take action, right? So yeah, next, 2, he doesn't look like the kind of guy I want to talk to. So this, her frame when she's approached. This could go two ways. This is just my interpretation with the kind of the game. Is like two ways would be one, you probably look like shit, and that's the reason why she's saying or thinking he doesn't want to look like the kind of guy I want to, unless you make mad baller money, extra mad baller money, 100 million, whatever, like in that fucking frame or time frame, and or B, like maybe you're not trying. He doesn't look like the kind of guy that I want to talk to. And maybe you're not trying, and maybe you're just like holding back. Or maybe, I guess there's three options on this three. You just don't have the right skills yet. Your body language cues are just not fully, developed, but you're working on it. But this is only still, here's the benefit, the seed of it all, the light in the dark. This is only an objection. And you can get past her objection, her frame, by you just being present, right? So we work on it. I would say on the stoplight theory, definitely red, 2 intrigued, as in like at number 2 intrigued, and then 3 going into 2 intrigued, going into engaged, right? So let's see where are we at. Next on this list, time going. So I was making sure I hit the button here. So her frame when she's approached. Number 3. I'm having a girls' night. On this ladder of the indicator of interest chart, what do you think she's at? If she says, I'm having a girls' night, I would say, for you, if I had to top it off, like, what do you think? That's right. I would say roughly intrigued, like red, definitely red, but could be intrigued, neutral, or engaged. I'd say that's the area. You want to play with that. You got to be aware of this is where it would be. And again, it's just an objection, and it depends on how well you enter the conversation or the interaction with her. So you have to play that accordingly. So next would be her frame when she is approached. Number 4, I'm not interested in being picked up. Again, I would say this, purely a objection as well, something to be handled. But I would say on the investment ladder indicator of interest chart, I would say that's most likely engaged. 3 engaged, and then intrigued. You can play with number 2, which would be intrigued here, and then you can get yourself to engage. But you have to have your body language a little bit more up to par. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And then once you're up to par, you're kind of bantering with her, you're playing with you're challenging with her, but you step back a bit now. You start being more carefree, and you start listening, and you slow things down, and you deepen the tonality of her voice. And you see how she becomes more receptive to it. And she can tell you, I'm not interested in being picked up. Whereas in the meaning, or the deeper psychological depths of it all, really, you're actually turning on the charm of your pickup skills, if that's the case. Because, as we said, the 738-55 rule ultimately would object to is that, like, 7% of all conversation is really ultimately the content of your words. It's the least important thing, 7%. 38% is how you are saying the words, and then your ultimately your body language, the quiet things that aren't being said. Where are your hips facing? Where are your feet facing? Where are her feet facing? Where are her hips going? Facing. Where's her body language? Where's the tonality of her voice? How's her eye contact? All the subtle things. And that would allow you to build immediately from 2 intrigued to 3 engaged, and ultimately maybe even 4 compliment, and then going after you for that night. And you can turn that objection around in no time. Next, this one's kind of a victim mindset that they would run into, but you kind of want to stay away from these. We'll move that fast. Why can't I find a man? Right? That's what she would say. And like that's an obvious objection, and I would probably keep her in the red. You'd be like neutral. Leave her at neutral, and then maybe intrigued. Like, only time you want to go to avoidance, or anytime that you sense avoidance, you probably just want to stay away from that. So, I'll say neutral or intrigued. Definitely red. Stay away from that for now. Next would be, I have a man, or guy, or boyfriend already, and I'm not interested. In which case, I would say, again for me, I'm like, so there'd be, depends on how she says it, right? Because this is kind of the game. How she says it. You'd want to respect it, but at the same time, how she says it. If she says it and then she keeps a tone with you that's really kind of high, but she's sticking around you in her proximity, meaning how close and far away she is from you. Like, if she's closer to you when she says that, then you're definitely at intrigued and maybe engaged. But ultimately, you as the guy should lead with just being neutral. As in, like, because you could flip this on its head. This is how much she's interested in you, but also at the same time, if you're screening and qualifying, you could flip the same stoplight theory on its head, and you could just be the guy who's neutral and who's also intrigued, and maybe you're more engaged by her based off of that, and then you play your game based off of that, based in how you were going to switch the dynamic of, I guess you say the power dynamic by you responding to her in a particular way by having standards and boundaries at that time. So, boyfriend already, I'm not interested. We went through that. 7, I look like a bum tonight. Nobody would want me. That's her frame when she's approached. And you can, like, that's engaged. You can definitely be intrigued. She'd be intrigued or engaged. And, like, you can play with that. And, like, you don't look that bad as a bum. Or, like, the sweats, or, like booty tight sweats, that's you looking like a bum. With you just chilling out, especially for girls now in the Western society, they're just kind of fucking insane. Not all of them, but for the good amount of them, they are. And then you can play with that. Obviously, on this list, again, engaged, intrigued. Where are we at? And then 8 is I look hot, I can have my pick of men here. This is really fun because you can flip this one on its head. Usually when girls are really pretty and they put on, it's not a good show, but like when they put on all the makeup and they go out of their way to do so, they want to be, like, they're more fun usually, because, like, they have the reason now. So now you can play with it, and you can do a little bit of engaged, and then, think about it being compliment. Like, particularly how, this depends more on how well your body language would be. Cued, how deep your voice is, how good you are at actually having a conversation with her, your communications with her, and then just the quiet things, like listening as well. And then teasing her playfully, and then stepping back, being carefree, and just kind of to let that work for you, do and work for you. And if it is the case, and if you just sense that she's just kind of a stuck-up bitch, definitely go immediately from, yellow close to green to just 0. Avoidance. Remain 0. So, and finally, yeah, an infinite possibility of things. So what I'm going to break up here and say to you is, this one's kind of really simple, and I'm going to tell you this right now, is that sometimes her frame is strong, meaning she has a husband. She's a married woman, and she's totally in love with her husband, or maybe her boyfriend that they've been around together for like 2 years now, and they're moving forward, they're getting steady, they want to getting engaged, blah, blah, blah. Most likely, her frame is going to be that she's not interested in you. As this being the case, I'm going to say this simply, just avoid that. Stay neutral, and avoid it. For karma's sake, don't fuck with it. Move on to another girl. Got it? Unless the guy's a total, complete, fucking utter dickhead and he deserves it, move on to another girl. Enough said. And sometimes her frame is malleable, as in, she's middle. She's single, but she's kind of independent-minded. She says, I don't need a man. Blah blah blah. Like, that's always just a bunch of bullshit anyway. Really, she's just saying that her frame is malleable, but if she finds the right person, she's really interested. But, like, it's up to you. This is kind of your own standard for yourself, and at least it's that for myself, is that you have to be the guy that has higher standards for yourself first before you decide to attract anything or want to keep anything, particularly a woman, higher quality woman, or wanting them to be attracted to you. You have to be the type of guy that is able to provide for himself, protect for himself, and also, love himself, too. Therefore, that would be more of an attractive frame and a stronger frame for her to want to come into your life with. Therefore, in this context, her frame would be malleable. Therefore, she is looking for a stronger, more congruent man who has an attractive and a strong frame that can help and also make her feel comfortable. Kind of basically everything I just said. And like a special alternate is that quality, attractive women, and I mean like traditional quality, attractive women, want men, not boys. And when I say quality, attractive, traditional women, I don't mean OnlyFans chicks. I don't mean porn stars. Kick them out of this fucking context entirely. If you want to get with them, cool. By all means, this game stuff will still work for it. But I mean getting an actual girlfriend or having a wife like material woman of substance, then yes, they want men, not boys. And you could be one of the boys with your boys, and then sometimes play with her as a boy when she's trying to be a little funny tomboy herself, but at the end of the day, she wants a grown-ass fucking man, not a boy. A grown-ass man has to do what hard, he has to deal with the hard times when they show up. He has to fix things, he has to go through life. Make sense? When that is your frame and you're strong and you're congruent and you're consistent, it's both, like I said, strong and it's what? Attractive. Something she wants. So, before we move forward here, I want to designate again, just kind of just, or rather announce again that if this video is kind of running on too long and you feel like you need better video actual examples of somebody talking and showing other physical, show-like examples, I want you to know that I've already went ahead and created for you for free the video tutorial, a follow-up bonus video tutorial that comes called Make Women Chase You Plus here, and this is basically just one of the same. This is basically one of the videos inside of this course that I made for you. Again, totally for free. This one's on frame control right now, and the example is using Harvey Specter from the show Suits. And I use the example because I'm not a fucking a dating coach, right? I'm a leadership coach for men, so like I don't have to worry about like borrowing stuff because I'm not a fucking dating coach.
Harvey Specter isn't exactly the perfect man. He can be rude, emotionally stunted, and sarcastic.
Who doesn't?
That's one example. Here's another example. I made these all for you, and guess what? They're totally fucking free, and you can totally get access to it for free.
Here's why being more fun makes.
Check your email, because with every email that I send you or any form of contextual form of communication, I leave behind the link. I leave behind a special invitation link that comes with my communication with you that invites you to the actual Make Women Chase You Plus video tutorial, the video community, ultimately, where you can see all the same videos that we're talking about here inside of Make Women Chase You, the ebook, and here the lost chapter, Frame Control Bible. You can get all this stuff, again, totally for free. Why? Because I believe in developing a strong connection with you guys first, like proving to you that hopefully what I'm creating is of some form of value, like it's helpful and I can serve you. And if I'm going to be totally transparent and honest, I am going to plan on selling you guys something later down the line, but before I do that, I want to make sure that I can deliver, and I want to show you guys that I can deliver and that I've been into this game for such a long time. Not the dating advice, but ultimately like self-development, business, learning about marketing, and just learning how to do it at a very high level and all the skills, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that's a higher ticket thing. We're not going to worry about that right now. For now, again, just want to reinstate the importance of you having access to this resource if you want it. These are all the videos on the right, as you can tell, on dating advice and relationship and becoming a badass 1%, 2% type of guy who wins in his dating life and dominates in life himself. He's the man. He makes his room. He makes his rules, and he lives up to them imperfectly, as we all do. So, that being said, let's continue. Where are we? So, women, where are we at? Well, women will always be repelled to nice guy Jerry's frame. Again, I'll say that again. Women will always be repelled to nice guy Jerry's frame because why? He always has a fucking ulterior motive. And this is nice guy Jerry's frame when he's approaching. I'm going to run and open a routine and then look for IOIs. In other words, he's going to save some specific pickup. He's going to use some pickup lines. He's going to try to impress her. He's going to sit back. Maybe he's going to look pretty decent. He's going to try to dance. He's going to try to make her laugh. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't feel natural. Excuse me. That's one frame. Another frame is that I hope she likes me. I hope she fucking likes me. Truth is, not every girl's gonna like you. Sometimes you're not even gonna like you. Because in the beginning, if you're just new to this stuff, you're gonna suck at it. And you're probably even gonna think that, Gil, man, this is just bullshit, man. I hate that you're such a liar. I don't know why I don't even know why I follow you. But yeah, guess what? I probably am a liar. And I don't think I'm a liar, but I probably am a liar. But the truth is, I've been doing this for fucking 9 years. Like, and I really sucked at it when I was 21, and I'm 29 now. Like, it's bananas. Or was it 21? Yeah, I think it's 21. So, because I'll be 30 this year, I'm 29 now. Yeah, so not bad. So, like, the truth of the matter is that not everybody's gonna like you. And in the beginning of anything that you begin, I think you can relate with the act. The thought of, like, you're gonna suck. That's just the truth. So you have to keep getting those reps in. You gotta believe in that. Nice guy Jerry doesn't believe in that. He's just a wuss. He bitches out and he blames others. He's a victim. So, nice guy Jerry's frame when he's approaching. That girl, she's totally out of my league. I'm gonna tell you this now before we move on. It's like, no girl is out of your league. Maybe if they're super hot, maybe like you're just like intimidated, that's fine. But it doesn't mean she's out of your league. It just means you gotta step up your game in that moment and you need to resent it, like get your state control back under control. That's another conversation. So again, nice guy Jerry's frame when approaching. She can have her pick out of every guy in here. Sure. Roughly. For you, you can choose any girl that you want, but do you want every girl? And not only that, are you the type of guy that is worthy to be able to have that power? If not, then this statement is true. Right? Like, the statement is true. You want what women have, which is pussy. You want some pussy. You want to fuck. You want, hopefully, ultimately, after that, you want a good partner. Right? But, again, this is a two-way street for this one. Nice guy Jerry, he just lives on the one-way highway, being a loser by himself with his thumb out. Nice guy Jerry's frame when approaching. I'm not really sure if that was an D.I.Y or not. Who gives a fuck? Just keep going, have fun in the conversation, be more free-flowing, and not worry so much whether she's trying to run a game on you or whether how well your game is being run. Be both. Run game and just relax. Right? Let the tools come to you when they need to. Next, nice guys Jerry's frame when approaching. She's on her phone. I can't talk to her. Oh. Yeah, you can talk to her. I mean, if it's not that important, like if she's texting somebody, then you guys are all like on the first date together, and she's just texting somebody really fast. Maybe it's her mom, something like that. Blah blah blah. Sure, let that go. But if she's always on it, set the fucking foot down and just say, "Hey, I can't. I'm sorry, but like this is not gonna work. I can't talk or be on a date with somebody when she's always on her phone, or who just can't take her eyes off of it." Having rules, boundaries, and limitations in this manner, for yourself to be able to screen and qualify her is very important. Nice guy Jerry doesn't do that. For more information on how to do that, please refer back to the Make Women Chase You ebook. And finally, nice guy Jerry's frame when approaching. If I get her, I win. If not, I lose. Honestly, I believe you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Fact of the matter is, if you get her, cool, you do win to some extent. But it's never just a you win. It's about you two together. It's a us win. Because if you want her pussy, then you kind of have to, You have to succeed yourself. And I don't mean succeed, but you have to step down off of your high horse and thinking that you're the guy who has to run game. She just has to be ultimately always impressed by you. No. Like, she's just another person like you, and you want something from her. And hopefully she wants something from you. And you guys have a cool chemistry, and it's going to be a badass connection together. But if you do lose her, which sometimes happens, especially if they're pretty, really pretty, and there's like another fucking stud in the room, and you have nice guy Jerry's lame ass skills, like that stud in the room is probably gonna pick her up and just walk out of there and like take her with him, and it's not like it's your fault because you suck, but thankfully you're not nice guy Jerry and you're here with me, and the likelihood of that actually happening is very low. So, I digress. Next. Here's how nice guy Jerry communicates this frame. Right? He has weak eye contact. 2, he's looking to and for her approval after she says something. Like he's waiting on her every word after he says something. Or she says something. So that way he can get her validation. 3, he's appearing displeased if she does not give the reaction that he's looking for. Again, he has an ulterior fucking motive. It's a weak-ass motherfucker. He's not carefree. Next, he's running for cover when he's not greeted with smiles. Like, the reality is women ultimately menstruate. They get their periods. They become bitches for like a month and a half. Or half a month. Or however long their bloody period time frame happens. Like, they bleed from their fucking vagina. I'd be pretty mad, too, if my dick started bleeding every goddamn month. And like then I get cramps. And like that's pretty bad. Like whatever. If you're not gonna be greeted with smiles, fuck it. Who cares? Just it's nothing to do with you. Help her in any way you can. And if you can't help her and she's just not communicating great with you greatly, then guess what? Refer back to this chart. Just remain neutral. Or if not anything, avoid her. Nothing to do with you. Move on if you can't help her. Next, nice guy Jerry's always communicating in a defeated tone. He lost. I'm a victim. The world just like nobody's ever gonna like me. I'm always doing this. I just talk like this all the time. Just maybe this isn't love music. Never meant to find me. I can't fucking relate with that. Like it's even I wouldn't allow myself to get that low. For myself, I would just stay neutral. It's always best if we refer back to this. Just remain neutral because you can't control the outcome. You can never control the outcome. You can be as greatly prepared as you want to, unless you've done the thing a certain amount of times. But you can never really control the outcome. Ever. You can't even control life because we're still gonna fucking die at the end of the day. So it doesn't really matter. Right? You're always gonna die. If death is always the end goal, which it is, because whether the sun blows up, you get hit by a car, some other motherfucker hits you, or you just have bad health, whatever. Like, even at the end of the day, you die by old age. Like, you can't get away from it. So let that go. Doesn't matter. So, this is the correct frame when approaching. Do this, or think this way. 1, this woman is attractive. I'd like to get to know her better. This is how your conversations in your brain should go, and you just take action. And 2, I think she'll have a better time talking to me than not. Pause. Smile. Walk up to her. 3, if she doesn't like me at first, it's okay. It's really just simply because she doesn't really know me well enough yet. And just pause. And you go talk to her. And relax. Because sometimes it goes the way you want. Sometimes it doesn't. Next, 4. I wonder what's going on in her world. The great part about this is that, like I said, the majority of those were roughly neutral. It's not in this neutral, not in the sense that it's a red, but neutral in the sense that you're not trying to overly be optimistic. Like you're optimistic, but you're not overly optimistic, and you're not necessarily pessimistic. You're just neutral. Optimistically neutral, I guess that's the best way to say it. And again, a special note to you, and authors don't really. It's just that too many guys listen to their fucking loser friends who have no fucking game. Their friends or this family, whatever. And they have, really, ultimately, those people, no decent form of skills or communications. High-level forms of, high-level skills in communication and persuasion, excuse me. I butchered my speech there. So, ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to find yourself. You have to find yourself surrounded by better people. You have to get yourself surrounded by other people. Because if you find yourself surrounded by these loser types of people in your social circle or your family circle, simply by just being around them, you will assume their cadence of mind, the way they think. You will listen to the way they think. You'll hear the conversations that they have. Not that you can hear the conversations in their head, but they'll say, ultimately, by projecting their weaknesses and their insecurities on you, like, oh yeah, you can't do that because I couldn't do that. Or how could you ever be this because of that? Or whatever fucking excuse comes up in the moment. Like, blah, blah, blah. You surround yourself, like I said, around 6 fucking losers, you're going to become the 7th. So do your best to keep it around on people that are ultimately, hopefully, at your level and pursuing the similar kind of goals and ambitions and money, whatever. And then ultimately have other people that are way ahead of you, where you want to go, whatever that thing is, like light years ahead, and just follow them and bless them and ask them for questions, try to provide value for them. And if you can't get to them, find people that are under them that are like the lower hanging fruit and stick around those people and just have that be your controlled environment that you can trust and rely on and use as a bedrock to keep you a fucking G in this frame control dynamic. So don't do your best to stick and stay away from your loser friends with no skills, and typically that aren't going anywhere other than to the bar at the weekends, the end of the week, so that way they can drink their life away again. So fuck that. So finally, I think we're done here.